Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Purpose Tuned podcast. The goal of the show is to create valuable content to broaden your knowledge, inspire you to act, and get you in the right mindset so that you can apply it in your own life to drive impact, generate meaning, and achieve your purpose. Now, today's guest is Laurent Notin. He is an entrepreneur, coach to entrepreneurs. He's also a startup mentor, as well as the host of the podcast interviews, Cracking the Entrepreneurship Code. He spent 20 years in Southeast Asia and relocated to Finland in 2019. His professional background is in market research and advertising. He runs a small business of up to 150 people, and he believes that entrepreneurship is tough. There are no practical guidelines. The biggest risk entrepreneurs face is to become the main bottleneck of their own business. He helps his clients get out of such situations to become the best version of themselves. So, Lauren, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Hey, Kong, thank you very much for having me. Doing very well. I just come back from, 10 days of vacation. I'm very relaxed.
Don't we all need that? That's amazing.
Yeah, yes, we all need it. And sometimes, when we work too much, we tend to forget the importance of taking a break.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. In this work of entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
how do you find balance between work and life?
Wow, you hit me with a big question. Um, I think that it's interesting because a month ago or something like that, before I went on vacation, I was having this conversation with a young guy like you. I think he just turned like 30, and he asked me the differences between myself when in my 30s and myself now in my 40s. I'm 45 today, and
Today's your
the
birthday.
answer. No, well, not today,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm
Right.
45
Okay.
actually.
Got
I
it.
was in May, sorry. And my answer was that I think in my 40s, I'm way more in control of my life, which means I can find a better balance between life and work. When I was in my 30s, I was working a lot. I always enjoyed working. I was working a lot, putting a lot of hours. Like you said, I was managing businesses up to 150 people. I really, really enjoyed it. But I was living in Southeast Asia. It's kind of challenging over there, and I was managing businesses like they were my own. And I would go to bed at 2 a.m. at night. Get up at 8 and go back and do that like five times a week, sometimes over the weekend, and that was okay. Because I really enjoyed it. That was okay. That was okay, but I didn't realize that I was following the flow. I was more like in control. I was more like following the flow. I was never taking the time of stopping and just enjoying what I have, which is something that with age has changed. And I think partly answer your question is really about enjoying the journey. It's like living more in the present moment, like looking, stopping, looking around me, and looking what I have achieved, looking at uh, where I am, how lucky I am, being grateful for what I have. That helps me a lot uh, in terms of balancing work and life. And also on top of that, I would say I don't want to be the person I used to be in the 30s. I worked hard. I know what it means. Now, with age, with experience, I have learned to work hard, but smarter. So I know how to do things faster. And I know that there are things that I don't need to do because it's small details. It won't change anything.
Right. So there's, of course, in terms of in the space of productivity, you focus on the
Mm,
most important goals and
yeah.
you execute on them until they're finished because those are the goals that will move the needle. and the little
Yes.
details, you can worry about it later or delegate those details to someone else in your team. So
Yes.
I
Yes.
completely understand the that perception in terms of working smarter. Now, going back to your vacation, where did you go? I'm curious.
Oh, I stayed in Finland. So I live in Finland. I stayed in Finland. So we went for a road trip,
Nice.
uh, like in a city called Kuopio, which is in a center east of Finland. Finland is full of lake and forest. I think there's something like 180,000 lakes in Finland.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And in summer we had a fantastic summer. It's blue sky, very sunny. Everywhere you go, it's green. It's beautiful. And so we spent there some days, and then we went camping into a forest and move along like to the coast on the southwest of Finland, and then came back to Helsinki.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. You are a well-traveled man. I more people could travel around the world to expand the horizon and
Yes,
acquire
yes.
experiences because life is short. And this podcast really is to inspire people to live out their truth and
Mm.
follow their North Star, so to speak. And having learned about your background, how did you get into this space of traveling, expanding your horizon and into entrepreneurship?
Right. So when I was 23-ish, so in 1999, at the beginning of the year, I think, I was with someone who I stayed with for 19 years, and she's the mother of my kids. And she was working as she was being trained as a teacher, but to teach French to foreigners. And she had to do an internship to validate, I think was a master, something similar. And she found this announcement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which at that time was offering 80 paid positions, internship position, dedicated to people like her, specifically for what she was doing, what she was studying. And you would select countries. So you would fill in like three choices on the registration file. And you would just apply through through your file. There was no interviews, nothing. We just had to submit this file with, I guess a bunch of documents, and that's it. And she looked at the list of the countries, and she saw Laos, and she was like, okay, I think nobody will pick Laos, so I'm going to put Laos as my first choice. And I think second and third choice, she put something like Latin America, something like that. And she was selected. And so I just finished my military service. It was the last year in France. It was still mandatory, the military service, and I was actually the last year of mandatory service, and I had no job. I couldn't find a job. I was lacking, a lot of confidence in myself, and I was going to these job interviews, and I stuck so much at those job interviews. I mean, now that I think about it, if I put myself in the shoes of the job interviewer, I would be like, "Whoa, who is this guy?" And I was like, you know, I think some part of my mind had always considered traveling. And so I was like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And initially we went there for 9 months, and life happened, and I found this job for working for this small research agency. And after 1 year, they gave me the key of the company because they told me, well, we're going to go and move to Cambodia now. So you are going to run the company for us. Like, I was 24, still lacking a lot of confidence in myself. I was like, are you sure? And they said, yes, because we don't really have the choice. There's only you know, and we don't trust the other staff, right? So they gave me the keys, and this is how I ended up running company for people who are entrepreneurs, and I just loved it. I was like, whoa, this is so cool. And then I continued doing that, and I've always worked for entrepreneurs. And then I stayed in Asia for 20 years, 6 years in Laos, then moved to Cambodia, uh, Vietnam, back to Cambodia, but I travel all around Southeast Asia for work.
That is incredible. The I think it was just great that they were able to recognize your talents and abilities and say, we trust you enough at your age, at 24, to run a business. I don't think.
You know what? I don't think at all this what happened. I think I was there. They didn't have the choice. They were not, I was the one they were trusting the most.
Mm,
Not that they were trusting me, they were trusting me more than others. And if I think that if they had the choice, if they had had someone else, they would have given the keys to someone else. But because I was there had nobody else. They just gave me the keys. And then I remember they told me, wow, that was actually, we didn't think that you could do it, but we were actually very surprised you could do. So that's a level of trust that they had. But I really, I was like, wow, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to run companies. I want to do more management. It was amazing.
So it sounds like it was something that you stumbled upon, or do you
Hmm.
believe that entrepreneurship is for people who are born with it?
I believe that entrepreneurship is, it's either you have it or not. It's a calling. Um, like you said, I have a podcast and I talk to entrepreneurs, and I've been talking to more than 60 entrepreneurs so far in a little bit more than a year. And that's everything. Everybody says that it's stronger than them. It goes beyond them. They have to do it. One of my guests said, if you're asking yourself the question, are you an entrepreneur? Chances are you're not. And I tend to agree. I tend to agree with that. In theory, everybody can be an entrepreneur. In practice, it's not for everybody because you need to have the right mindset.
That is powerful. So explain to us, what is the right mindset? I mean, you
Mm,
engage with entrepreneur topics and have spoken with them about their journey and
yeah.
challenge and wins. What's the right mindset, or is there a single right mindset?
Well, that's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to crack the entrepreneurship code, and I can share some
Sure.
cracks. So the first one is the journey. You mentioned it's a journey. Yes, entrepreneurship is a journey, and it's very, very important to understand that. In this digital world that we live in now, you see all these people on social media. Social media, they just promote all these stories about people who are successful, and you think it all happens overnight, right? But maybe for some it did happen overnight, but these are the exceptions. Like the exception is like 0.001% of those people, of entrepreneurs. A lot of entrepreneurs, they don't share their stories. A lot of them fail. And and one of the things they forgot is that it's a journey. Success will not happen overnight, and maybe it will never happen. you know and it's not a straight line. You're not going to go from the starting date, which you can all identify. I know exactly when I started my own journey as an entrepreneur, to wherever it is that you want to go. Like, it's not a straight line. It's more like a very complicated up, down, backward. Move one step forward, three steps backward. It's a constant roller coaster of emotions. So you need to be very resilient. You need to be very persistent. You need to have a lot of patience, and that is the right mindset. It's a journey. You're there for the long term. It never ends. That's what entrepreneurship is about. So I would say that's a crack number one. uh, Crack number two is, and this is linked to your podcast, is that every entrepreneurs that I've been talking to, I think 100% of them, they crave for impact.
Mm,
They want to change the world at their level. you know they Starting with why. Simon Sinek, they all have a why. all of them, they have a clear purpose. As soon as some don't have the clear purpose and they struggle, but as soon as they have a clear purpose, everything else makes a lot more sense. They know where they want to go. They're not sure how they're going to get there, but it doesn't matter because they're very, very focused on their purpose and on the impact they're going to make. So that's the crack number 2. The crack number 3, I would say, is that entrepreneurs will fail. You will fail. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't start or stop because they're afraid of failures. Everybody is afraid of failure. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people are afraid of failure. Failure is part of the journey. You will fail. That's it. Just accept it. But what you need to do is that you need to get up every time. Okay, I fell. This is it didn't go like I wanted it to go. Fine. What did I learn from it? And how I'm going to move forward. So that's three points, like 3 cracks for entrepreneurs to have the right mindset.
Those are powerful, what you would consider as codes, right, to entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
And a lot of people struggle with that, especially the notion of failure.
Yes.
Because they believe that if they fail, that's the end of the world. But it's actually part of that process of entrepreneurship, of winning, as long as the person is able to dust off themselves and get back on their own 2 feet and keep on going, that I think that's a absolute win for them. And I think for people, even though they understand that entrepreneurship is hard, that it takes a lot of energy, time, and focus and dedication, but yet still embarked in this journey. What is that? Why do people do it if there's such a high failure rate and it takes so much energy? Do you think it's because people are chasing the money, or is it chasing the freedom, or is it simply because they have a purpose and it's all about purpose?
So what I can tell you is that entrepreneurship is a calling. And there is one thing that none of my guests, and I've been talking to more than 60 people, entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, none of them have mentioned the money. I've just done a series about, with this Nordic startup school, which is in Finland, is some sort of an accelerator incubator. And I've done a startup series with mentors. And the latest episode, I was talking to mentors who are investors, and I was asking them, what are the wrong reasons to start a company? They all say, guess what? Money. Never ever start a company because of the money, because you're gonna fail, you're gonna crash, because the only thing that you will be looking at is the money. Entrepreneurs don't do that to become rich. There are other ways, faster ways to make more money than being an entrepreneur. They do it because it's part of their blood, because they feel it deep down inside of them. I mean, it took me 18 years to become an entrepreneur myself. But I reached a point where I was like, damn, if I don't do it now, I will never do it. And I feel it. I feel I have to do it. It's stronger. Like I was saying, it's stronger than you. You have to do it. They have to do it. And yes, there is this aspect of freedom. Yes, there is this aspect of being able to create something from scratch, which is important for a lot of entrepreneurs, and seeing it blossoming, maybe. Yes, there is the impact, and usually the impact is present, but it is better defined once they start, But I think the primary reason for starting is just because it's stronger than you. The force is strong with entrepreneur. It's the entrepreneurship force. They just have to do it.
Yeah, I get you, which is why I launched this podcast, is because I just had to do it. I get that feeling. And
Mm,
it is a calling. It is something that we just know deep inside our gut that we just have to do it.
yeah.
And
But to what I would say though is that I lived in Asia. There's also a category of entrepreneurs who do it because they don't have the choice. They do it for survival. You
mm,
know, in Asia, all the families in Asia, they are in India and Southeast Asia. They have mom and pop shops. They're all entrepreneurial, but they do it because there is no social security. You know, they do it because at the end of the day they have to make money to so they can buy food.
right,
Here in Finland or in Europe, even in the state in the USA to a certain point, if you have the money, you have the social security system. You know, if you are not employed, you get some unemployment benefits.
right.
Not in Asia, so you have to find to employ yourself. So there is this category of entrepreneurs who just do it because they don't have the choice.
I love that because that brings me up to my next point. When
Mm,
an entrepreneur, you're not just competing against people in your city, your region, your state. You're competing against people all over the world, especially since technology has evolved and has provided people with access to the space, what you would call the internet, to build their
yeah,
own business online. You're competing with people all over the world. And
yeah.
that's, I think, an amazing thing when the market is open for all.
True.
Now,
And
that
I
does
would
mean
I
that,
would say I would say you most importantly you're competing against yourself. This
well,
is
that
the
too, right.
the most challenging. I think it's the most challenging thing I know. I mean, I'm a CrossFit addict. I go to the CrossFit box like 5 times a week. I know what a hard workout is. Being an entrepreneur, man, it's harder. And you really have to go behind yourself all the time.
Right. And so let's touch on your CrossFit experience as well. I like
Yeah.
that. But before that, what does purpose mean to you, and how does it show up in your life?
Purpose to me is having a sense, like I think understanding why I'm here, why am I on earth, and what legacy I want to leave behind me. And it's an interesting question because this is the process that I've gone through. When I decided that I would be an entrepreneur, I thought, all right, now I know that I want to become an entrepreneur, but now I need to find out what it is that I want to do. And it took me an extra maybe year, I would say, before I found it. And I realized that when I was at my best, what I was really enjoying is helping people. When I was running companies, I was always spending time with the staff, training them, mentoring them. I was also teaching at school at one point. I did a lot of presentations to clients, but also public speaking. Uh, for example, talking about market research. You know, I just love that. I've always loved those when I create those aha moments in the eyes of people. I'm like, yeah, I just change your life right now. Well, a very, very small, tiny portion of changing your life, but I did something about it. And when I realized that, I thought, okay, I'm gonna be a coach. I'm gonna try to fix people. So fixing is not the right word, but I can't help it. I can't help it. It's like I said, like I was telling you earlier about entrepreneurship. It's stronger than me. I was born to help people. This is my purpose. I know that deep down inside me. I know that, and so that's why I became a coach. And so that's why, and that's what keeps me going. Every time I feel down, I remember myself why I'm doing the things that I do. I want to help people. Today, I help entrepreneurs because I speak the same language. I understand them. Maybe I don't know. In some years' time, maybe I'm going to start helping other type of people. But that's what I do. I love helping people.
That's great. Yeah, it's about, at the end of the day, it's about making an impact, and that is
Mm,
changing people's lives so that they can run the kinds of business that they want to achieve the kinds of hopes and dreams that they have set for themselves and the freedom
yeah.
that they want to that they desire. So
Yes.
I love this energy that you have, and that you're making an impact in your clients, and the ways in which you go about it. When you're
Thank
having
you.
when you're having challenging moments, how do
Mm.
you get through tough times?
Well, remembering why I'm doing the things I do
Mm,
is one of the ways. But also, and it's interesting because last year with when the COVID started, I was hit really hard. Uh, so I moved country. I went from Asia, where I had some clients. I knew a lot of people, to Finland, where I didn't know anybody, and I was like a little bit too confident in myself for once, maybe a little bit too arrogant. So I came to Finland. I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's gonna be fine. So first, I underestimated the time that it will take to make a net, make a networking, build a network here. Basically, I was starting from scratch again. And second, uh, so that was back in July 2019, and then March 2020, boom, pandemic, global pandemic. I lost all my clients basically. Well, not that they stopped the contract; they did not renew my contract, and most of my clients, the clients that I had, were in Asia, and the contracts were that I had with them terminated pretty much at the same time, and none of them renewed except one, which is still who is still a client. And suddenly I was like, shit, sorry for my language. I was like, damn, I'm deep down the hole right now. I'm really down. I did not anticipate that at all, and it was really tough. I mean, tough to the point that even financially, I was in troubles because I have savings, but
mm,
my savings are in Asia,
mm.
and Asia was locked in completely. I could not access my savings because there was
Really?
nobody at the office in Asia who
Wow.
would reply. So financially, it was really difficult too, and I had to go back to the point where I had to go back to my parents at the age of 44 and ask them some money to help me
Mm.
staying here, and that's a very humble moment, you know. We'll see if you have to do that when you reach the age of 40. I don't want, I mean, no, I'm not wishing that to you, but man, this is really humbling. And I was like, damn, it's that I have to do something about it. And this is how I have always go through challenges is I can't quit. I have to go through it. I mean, I cannot quit before I have done everything that I can. And so what I usually do is like, okay, once I've calmed down, once I've put my emotions away, or try to put the emotions away, right, just to focus on what's going on. I try to look at the opportunity. I try to look at the good, the positive. My motto is, in every challenge there is an opportunity. So I will try to find that opportunity. Once I have it, then I will focus all my energy on that opportunity, just to stay positive. In the case of the pandemic, the opportunity was for me to completely rethink my business, move more online, which I wasn't,
Mm.
and which is completely a little bit stupid, but I was like sleeping, and that's why I launched the podcast, for instance. So because I thought, okay, what is that? What is it? How can I do? How can I be at my best online? Because I'm not a big fan of social media. I don't use them a lot. And I'm not very good at it. I don't really like it. But podcasting, it is something that I've been seeing a lot. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's do that, because podcasting can help me actually serve my audience, and I can build something around entrepreneurship. and then I put more effort on LinkedIn, etc. So it's really about, for me, it's really about finding that opportunity and sticking to it. And then a lot of persistence, getting things done. Don't stop. Just continue putting the hard work. It's like when you go through a difficult hard workout, you know, you're like, oh damn, I want to quit. I need to stop. But if you stop, you will not be able to do that one more push-up, for example, or that one more pull-up. And that's the difference between, for me, it's a difference between quitting and not quitting. Is that, okay, I'm really, really, really exhausted right now. But if I can do that extra push-up, or I can do that extra pull-up, then, it's a victory over myself. And that's how I keep myself going. Sorry, it was a long answer.
No, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story about how COVID impacted your business and what you do to survive. And I think that again goes back to the whole entrepreneurship experience is when our businesses are going well, it's easy to celebrate. It's easy to have a good time and be positive. But when things
Yeah.
go well, those are the teaching moments. Those are the moments where you have to leverage your creativity, your networks, your resources to
Yeah.
survive and hopefully thrive in that future. And so it's such a powerful story that you shared, and I want to thank you for that vulnerability. um, so speaking of CrossFit, I myself
Yes.
am a fitness enthusiast as well. I work out 5, 6 times a week. I love it. It's something that's a passion of mine. I don't do it for work, but I do it as a way to not only entertain myself, but also to challenge myself both physically and mentally. And so I get the your analogy or example of
Yeah.
that one more push up with that one more set or one more rep, it's going to make a difference between you and your competitor or you
Yeah.
and the man that you want to be. And so although I'm not a CrossFit addict, I'd love to join a gym.
Okay.
Only it's a bit expensive, but what I've realized is that it's very much a community of people
Yes.
wanting you to succeed. Is that
Yes.
correct?
It is. It is. It's and CrossFit, the last person in the workout is usually the one that is the most uploaded and the most supported, because everybody is there sharing the same workout at their level. We're all sweating. Usually, the where we train, this is nothing is fancy. It's not like the global gym. There is a lot of the time there's no aircon, so you sweat a lot. You're dirty, and everybody is sharing the same moment, and everybody is there to get the most out of themselves,
Right.
push
And
themselves.
that's a great way to, in a sense, train your mind, not just your body, but your mind
True.
to through these exercises so that it can set you up for what's to come in your business, right?
True.
Because
True.
you're pushing yourself, as you're saying. And
Yeah.
so do you have people you look up to as you're embarking on this entrepreneur journey, people who inspire you?
I I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, whom I've mentioned earlier. I think he has this ability of turning complex leadership issues into very simple ideas. I love it. I'm a bit envious of that. The guy is super smart, and I'm really inspired by what he says. I've got two of his books, and I follow him on social media. Recently, I started following also Adam Grant. Uh, deep, deep. What is? It's very interesting because it touches on the mind.
Mhm.
What he says. I'm also a follower of Seth Godin, the marketing guru. I read most of his newsletter or this blog, his post. It sends post by email every day,
Mm.
every day for the past, I don't know, years. I don't know how long he's been doing that. Every post he write themselves, he write them himself. Same. It's what sometimes he's even too sophisticated. Sometimes I don't understand what he says, but he's a genius. He's a marketing genius. Who else do I follow? I mean, I'll go like here and there. You know, I read a lot because one of the very important thing for me is to learn, to constantly learn, because so that I can better advise my clients too. So you know, I would go here and there. I follow. I subscribe to several newsletters. I watch some TED talks on different subjects. Most of the subjects will be related around neuroscience or mindset, and of course business or entrepreneurship more specifically. But yeah, podcast. I read a lot of books too.
That is great. I love the fact that you're self-educating yourself and you're also continuing learning about the latest
Mm,
trends to business, mindset, all the skills that's needed to be an entrepreneur. And that tells a lot about who you are, that you're someone who is in the space of personal growth and development,
yeah,
wanting to achieve the best version of yourself while at the same time helping other people. And that is such a great service to have and an honor to have you on the show because you're someone that's completely unique in your own right. And that's one of the reasons why I invited you onto my podcast because you have this
thank
genuine
you.
desire and care to help people to succeed. I think that in business today, we are forgetting to treat people as people. I've
Hmm.
worked at companies where I'm viewed as simply a number,
Yeah,
and a number identifies when you'll get a paycheck. And the companies that I've worked at, they're so big. There's so many people that people don't often, you know, get to know you.
yeah,
And that's one of the reasons why I like working at a smaller organization because it gives you that option, that opportunity to get to know your people. Because
hmm,
without people, there wouldn't be a business. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that say, well, you have to serve your shareholders. That's what the business is all about. Is its existence is sure is to make profit so that the shareholders could benefit from that.
yeah,
That's semi-true. I think that without people, your employees, you wouldn't have a business. And so
definitely.
have to empower people, inspire people, create a culture where they can really be themselves and belong and be the best version of who they are. So they can
Definitely.
contribute to a great organization and then generate profit for its stakeholders. And an organization that I think is successful is one that is purpose driven, that has a mission, a strategy, values that's tied to its purpose,
Hmm.
and it goes beyond making money. And when you have that, that organization is gonna get through the most challenging times because it's gonna remind their leaders and their people that we have a purpose of why we're doing this work. It goes beyond the 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 revenue generation. What's your take on that?
Yes. No, I completely agree. I was talking about the cracks, the entrepreneurship crack. Clearly, one of the other cracks that every entrepreneur is mentioning is people.
Mhm.
Like all the entrepreneurs I talk about, they said, if I didn't have people, I wouldn't be where I am today and where the company is today. And when I say people, they're talking about their staff, but it's also talking about external people like mentors, coaches, like myself or others, but and also all the stakeholders that don't necessarily include the shareholders only, because I don't talk to entrepreneurs who have IPO'd. but also includes like your suppliers, your clients. Clients are people. You know, there's something that we often forget, that at the end of the day, at the end of, behind the computer, clicking on the purchase button, you have people. And these people are customers. We all people. We all make a decision based on emotions, not based on anything else than emotions. All the stories that we would tell ourselves in our head. Oh yeah, I needed a new mobile phone. It's not true. You wanted this new mobile phone because you love that brand. I love that brand. I want to be part of the tribe. Emotion. And yes, definitely all people. And yes, like I was mentioning earlier, entrepreneurs care for impact. They do it well. They don't do it. They do it initially because it's a calling, and then they have to find out what that calling is. This is where they find out what the purpose, their true purpose is. And once you find out what your true purpose is, then everything else is way clearer. Because you know where you want to go. You know you're going to reach a direction. You reach an intersection at one point. Well, should I go straight? Should I go left? Should I go right? Go back to your purpose. Your purpose is your DNA. This is the reason, the reason why a company was created. It's a DNA, like in a human body. That DNA will never change. Go back to your purpose, and you will know the answer. Maybe you have to turn left. And also a question that I am asked often is, what's the difference between your why and my company's why? There's no difference. It's the same. Your company is just a vehicle to convey your why. You know, you could do something else. Today, like I said, I am an entrepreneur. I'm a coach to entrepreneurs, and that's my way of helping people, right? But I started as a coach, a CrossFit coach. That's how I became a coach first time. It's because I was a CrossFit coach. But if I think about it, early on, I started when I was giving classes in the universities in Cambodia. But if I really think about it, earlier before that, I was mentoring my staff every week. I remember I had these conversations with my managers, and every week on a Monday morning, well, we spend 1 hour with each one of my person on the management team, and we go through their week, and I will mentor them, I will coach them. So it's always been there. I just had to find it out.
Right. That's great. I actually didn't know that you were a CrossFit coach, but that I'm sure that those leadership skills were transferable to your coaching business. When did you consider yourself as a success? Or if you can find what success means to you and then go from there.
Never. I was talking about this lack of confidence that I have. I used to have. Well, I still have it. I used to be like a 9 out of 10. Maybe now I'm like, depending on the day, I'm between a 3 and a 7. on the day when I am a 7, this is where my imposter syndrome will kick out. I don't consider myself as a success, and I sometimes I'm like, damn, I would like to be like this person, and this, like, oh yeah, this person is. I'm so envious or so jealous about what this person has achieved, and etc. etc. But what's the point? Then I remember, what's the point? It's my life. It's not their life. What I want is, I want to be happy. I want to be happy doing the things that I love. I want to enjoy the time being close to the nature. That's why Finland is absolutely amazing. You go to the lake, everywhere you get out of the city, in 2 minutes you're out in nature. I want to connect more with that. I want to spend time for myself. I want to be more in control of, but be more in the present moment, so that when I die, I can say, well, damn, that wasn't bad. I was able to enjoy the sunset, and I still remember them. I don't want to be the person that I used to be when I was 30. It was great. I had a lot of time. I had a great time. But, I missed out on so many things. As a result of, I think part of one of the reasons why I separated with my ex-partner, it's because of the work the hours of work I put. Sometimes I could have been way more present for my kids. Today they are 15 and 19. It has not been easy. I do have some regrets. I used to be, before I started CrossFit, I was fat. I was drinking too much. I was not in a healthy condition. Today I am healthy, and there's no way I am going to go back into the old me. And you know, now that you ask me the question, I think, yeah, if I'm able to do that, and yes, of course, don't get me wrong, if I can do, if I can get more clients, yeah, sure. I'm not gonna say, yeah, I don't like the money. Everybody likes the money. It makes things easier, right? But that is not a priority. But if I can do that, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's such a humble perspective of looking at life. Is is having money, but that's not your priority. Your priority is to make an impact and
Hmm.
also be more present in the moment so you can enjoy life and think about what your legacy will be. And
Yeah. I mean, I got this client. We started working 6 months ago. It was a guest on a podcast. He runs a company. He's been running the company like 20 years ago. Super successful, like way more successful than me. Way more successful than me. You
mhm,
know. And he decided that I would be his coach. I'm like, damn, are you sure? I want to have him as a client all my life. If I can do that, then maybe I'll consider myself a success. But that's okay. That's the type of things that I want now. I don't want to have 1,000 clients. I want to have, you know, good quality, a few of good quality clients. I don't need to have 1,000 clients. I need to have a few to live a comfortable life, which I would like to have. But that's it. I don't aspire to much more than that.
mhm, mhm. Right. And that's one of the things about being an entrepreneurship is that you get to pick and choose who you want to work with.
Yes.
And of course, life is short. Why would you want to work for a client that's going to give you a lot of stress, right? So
Yes.
it makes complete sense for you in your case, or with any entrepreneur, is to always look for that one client that's going to fit your portfolio and that that's going to work well, that will not give you a lot of stress. I mean, of course, work is stress, and there's always going to be moments where people will push your button the wrong way, but there are clients out there that want to work with you and want to be your coach, want to be your client. And so
Yes.
um, it's a great way to look at how you're conducting business. I know we're about that time, and I just got a few more questions here. My next question is, what are some of the success habits do you have?
Right. So, well, one of them is clearly to be healthy, like both physically and mentally. I mean, we talk a lot about CrossFit, but CrossFit plays an important part of my life because it keeps me healthy physically. Mentally, also it helps me like clear my brain. Uh, and I've started meditation, for example. I've been looking at it for a long time, and I'm like, okay, I need to do it. So that is really what the habit I want to build, like keeping myself healthy. And this is a strong recommendation that I have for any entrepreneurs out there. If you take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, who will? And how can you take care of yourself and your company? Sorry, how can you take care of your company and your family if you don't take care of yourself first?
Hmm.
I think the second habit that I've developed is discipline. I'm someone who is very disciplined, and that has helped me a lot when I went through that COVID stressful moment last year that I talked about earlier on. You know, being disciplined in, for example, building routines, getting up in the morning early, going to the gym, even though sometimes I don't want to go. I don't want to go to the gym, but I know how I'm going to feel after. You know, eating healthy, sleeping. So that that discipline, getting things done, the discipline of getting things done, like one step after another step, instead of being like making a giant step, just go like one small step after another step until you reach your destination. But that is important to move forward and do, not just to move forward for the sake of moving forward. And maybe I would say, I don't know. Yeah, I would say learning. Learning is, well, I talked about it earlier on. I think learning is another habit that I've developed over time.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, I'm an avid reader. I like books or newsletters, blogs. I also watch TED Talks. I listen to podcasts. It's really, I've always, if I don't understand something, I'm gonna make the effort of learning about it, not to the point that I become an expert, but just to understand, just to extend the global context, maybe. And because also it makes me a better person, it makes me smarter. If I'm smarter, I can advise my clients better, but I also feel that it's good for myself. Because if you're not learning, you made a mistake, you fail, you make a mistake, then what? You're going to continue failing and make the same mistake again and again and again. What's the point? Just learn from your mistake, move forward, improve. It's about that self-development that we were talking about. It's really important for me.
Yeah. Wow, those are incredible success habits. Definitely, uh, I could just see how it helps propel you forward as you're, um, you know, working on your business. That's amazing. Any last thoughts or words about purpose and advice that you want to give to my listeners on purpose?
Um, One of the things that I would say is, often when I've been asked the questions, how can I find my why? Is the answer that I see a lot is, don't, you will find it, start listening to yourself a bit more, because it often, your why, you often talk about it when you don't think about it. When you have these casual conversations with your friends or with your clients, the words are gonna come out from your mouth, and you won't even think about them, and they're just gonna come out, and they're gonna be like the right words. And because it was just a natural process, it just came out of you. That is when you're talking about your why. That's why it's important that you develop that skill of listening to yourself a bit more. If you can't do that, record yourself, and then go back to those recordings.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Lauren. Where can people find you should they want to connect with you?
Sure. Best way is either on LinkedIn. I'm always very happy to connect with people on LinkedIn. My website, laurentnotin.com. So my first name and my family name, all in one word.com. And there they can find my podcast, they can find my services. Otherwise, my email, which is contact@laurentnotin.com.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well,
Well,
thank you to
folks,
you, Com.
of course, it's my pleasure. Well, folks, if you want to connect with Lauren, you know where to find him. And if you enjoyed this podcast episode, please do like, share it, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, see you then.